What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and thank you once again for downloading and listening to another and special episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. This is the first in our series of festivities to bring to you at what has been an absolutely disgraceful 2020. Hopefully things like this will put a smile on your face, or maybe some of the things that we talk about tonight may make you more angry than you have ever been these last 12 months. It's entirely possible. My name is Clive, and I'm joined by, as ever, my co-host Ricky. Good evening, Ricky. How are you?
Doing well, yourself?
I'm good, thanks. I'm excited for what we have ahead tonight. Very excited.
I'm excited, but at the same time, it's going to be a lot of work. I think a lot of debate going on over the next few episodes.
It could be.
It'll be interesting.
And someone who's good with the debates has joined us, which reminds me, by the way, as of time of recording, we'll need to do a Wrestling Debate Club column soon.
And we are overdue, yeah.
We are overdue, so welcoming my Wrestling Debate Club co-columnist and friend in life and in love, Rance Morris. Welcome back to the show.
What's good, guys? What it do? How y'all doing?
Good, thanks. Good. Feels like I haven't spoke to you in a long time.
I know, right? Man, like, you know, you think you know a person, and then, like, you don't talk to them for, like, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden it changes your whole outlook on life.
Right, Ricky, tell us what we're doing. Go for it.
So tonight is the first of possibly three. First part of a 3 in our 64 wrestler bracketology. So tonight we'll be doing just round 1, which is 32 matchups. Brief discussion if we want, and then give our pick, and we'll move that person on to the next round. Mm-hmm. So what we've done, let's say, is over a couple of episodes, we produced 64 wrestlers from WWE, AEW/Indies, and New Japan through, and James Boyd helped contribute for a few Joshi wrestlers as well. Managed to put all these names into a spreadsheet and had it put a formula in which generated it in a random list. So I will just go straight on to matchup number 1.
Just basically pure bias can be the reason for your pick.
Well, that's what because we've never really discussed like the criteria. So if you want to add anything to this, me personally, I think criteria would be like kayfabe, like in the sense that kayfabe titles and booking, etc. So obviously how many titles you've won, whether like, you know, Royal Rumble wins or G1 wins or main event in Wrestle Kingdom, main event in WrestleMania. Okay. The other one being just general ring IQ, etc. if you want, but I think the deciding factor probably comes down to it, and it would be quality of matches as well.
Take it all into account.
Yep. You can lean, whenever you're giving your own personal pick, you can lean into whichever one you want more heavily.
Okay.
So again, this has been randomly generated. Like I said, we don't need to get into too much of a debate because, like I said, we've got 32 matchups, and I think if we sit here debating every single match, you know, we'll be here all night.
Ricky,
I think if you want to just give your pick and just give a few brief points as to why, and then if we really want to get kind of into it, we can. So, first up, we have, I say this was generated completely randomly, some interesting matches this has created. First up, we have got John Moxley versus Adam Cole.
Oh my God, that's the first one?
First one. This isn't even the best one. I texted you earlier on saying there's one match up here that is insane, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think of that one. But Mox and Adam Cole first up. Rance, if you want to give your pick as well as reasonings.
Bro, so Moxley was the PWI number one, and I thought Adam Cole had a fair claim to being the PWI number one. This is crazy, and it hurts me. Oh my God, it hurts me. But Moxley's on another level right now. Like Moxley, nobody's better than Roman right now, but Moxley is like as close as you can get. So I got to go with Moxley.
I'm going with him as well, and it's not even based off his run as Moxley in AEW. It's his body of work in WWE.
Oh, good point.
Multiple championships, regularly in upper mid card / main event feuds. He beat both members of the Shield in one night. That should not be taken away from him at any stage. And I just, in general, for the vast majority of his main roster career, I thoroughly enjoyed Dean Ambrose. So, and I like to slag Adam Cole something rotten because of his build weight, 210 pounds, like fucking pure lies.
Hey man, if a black man tells you he's 215 pounds, then he's 215 pounds, bro.
Shout out to Adam Cole's folks.
Right. My pick is obviously Mox as well. Obviously, he was known as, like, for a lot of his, like, hardcore, like, what's that bloody promotion? Is it
CZW?
Yes. So even if you want to factor all that in, but you really don't need to in my mind because, like he says, the stuff he done as part of the Shield, coming out of the Shield, winning all the titles he could possibly win in WWE, some awesome feuds. Then goes on to have some really good matches in the G1. Really good showing in the G1, moving on to AEW and see what he's done there. But I think I kind of forget, like, Adam Cole before coming on to NXT, part of Bullet Club, part of Ring of Honor when Ring of Honor was still like a respectable promotion.
He ran Ring of Honor.
Yep. In the beginning of the decade, kind of he was teaming with Kyle O'Reilly
Taven.
for Future Shock as well.
Sure, but he was also part of the Kingdom with Taven and Mike Kanellis Bennett.
And he was, for a period, I think he was alongside Eddie Edwards as well. But I think, Mox is my pick as well. I think it's pretty emphatic, if I'm honest. I would go with Mox.
No arguments here.
So nope. Right,
It's not emphatic, but it's Mox.
I'm going to keep slipping in and out so once I'm going back and forth. Oh Lord! Oh my God! Match number 2. We have Kota Ibushi versus Tanahashi.
Oh my God! What are we doing?
Oh, goodness.
Well, that happened this year. It already happened this year.
Oh.
Well,
Who's going first? Me or Clive? Who's going first? Go ahead, Clive.
as impressive as Kota Ibushi is, he's done a lot of wild, crazy shit this decade. So if you're looking at in-ring accolades in the big companies, there aren't that many. And Tanahashi is Mr. New Japan and has been for a long time, so I think I have to go with Tanahashi for this one. It's a crying shame that Kota Ibushi's got to go, but that's the luck of the draw.
Shit, that's Kota and Adam Cole are gone 5 minutes into this.
Disgusting.
All I hear in my head is Jeremy looking at me like I'm stupid. And Josh saying, but he's the ace, bro. So, like, when you're the ace of a major company for, like, almost the entire decade, and all credit to Ibushi, because if the Ibushi we've gotten in the past 2 years had been the same Ibushi for the past 10, then I'd go with Ibushi. But he's floated around aimlessly so long, just kind of doing what he wanted, and not signing contracts with the major company to the point where he was never given the opportunities he probably deserved. You know, my man should have. I think so, because you know he would have won. He's won 2 G1s back to back in his first 2 years signed with New Japan. He would have won the Cruiserweight Classic had he signed. Like, there's a whole bunch of things he would have been given. He just didn't want to sign a contract. Yeah. But I mean, Tanahashi's main event like 5 Tokyo Domes. Like, it's Tanahashi.
Yeah, it's Tanahashi for me, but I think it's a lot closer than you might initially think. Like he says, I know, and the crazy thing is, like, Josh doesn't remember, because I was speaking to him, and like, it was Josh that was advocating, fuck that, like, don't rank people, just have it like free for all and have it chaotic. I think his example was Io Shirai versus Brock Lesnar in the first round. Clive, I don't know if you remember that. So
that'd be fire. That'd be a fire ass match.
And I agree, because I think if we did start ranking individuals, I think basically we would just, there's no point recording the initial first 2 rounds. We may as well get to a final 8. So yeah, Bushi, 2019, 2020 G1. I was tag champ with Kenny. Was he not IWGP Junior Heavyweight, Junior champ as well? Maybe 2 or 3 times.
And a never openweight champ.
But yeah, like I've just, you know, if we don't pick Tanahashi here, I know Jeremy and Josh are going to be in our ears, and I think Tanahashi is definitely the pick here. It's very, very close though. But yeah, I think we do have to go Tanahashi without a doubt ultimately.
Okie doke. I'm happy with that.
And also the crazy thing about Tanahashi being is that the guy's like also mid-40s, you know, and still right now producing like awesome matches. Mm-hmm. Right, matchup number 3. This one, like I said, I don't think we're going to debate this whatsoever. Matt Hardy versus Seth Rollins.
Oh, for God's sake!
So I think we're all going with Seth.
Aye.
I don't know, man. Look, there's a cake. No, I'm playing Seth Rollins.
Right. Match number 4.
Matthew.
Well, I mean, right.
At the end of the day, it's not up for discussion.
No, definitely not. Right, so match number 4, we have Honma taking on the New Day.
Who?
New Day.
I was gonna pick Honma no matter who he faced. So yeah, New Day. I was gonna pick New Day, no matter who. Honma was gonna lose no matter who he faced. Is what I want to say.
This is sheer bias and ignorance that I don't know much about Honma and New Day. If you're looking at an entire unit, whether they're single or plural, the accolades, the classic moments over the years, merch, all that, everything, all the intangibles, you've got to put New Day over quite a lot of these people that they'll be up against, so New Day are going through for me.
Yeah, I'll go New Day, but Honma is an ex IWGP Tag Champion. Also, didn't he win World Tag League as well? Maybe 2 or 3 times. I think he was ranked in I don't know. Yeah, I didn't pay much attention to Mox being ranked number 1 in that PWI thing, because that's like a kayfabe list. But I think Honma was also, I don't know if it was 2017 or 16, but I think he certainly was like top 200 or so. But it's New Day. Yeah, New Day. I think the one thing that we say is, when we were doing it initially, was that it has to be exclusively what they've done as a tag team or as a faction type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't, I felt at the time we couldn't include Kofi's world title run. But see, when you think about it, E and Woods were heavily involved in Kofi getting there and winning it. So maybe it's bias because we're loving New Day so much. I genuinely feel like we have to have Kofi's initial push in winning the title and amongst the New Day storyline, because like I said, they win the gauntlet match to get Kofi into the main event, into WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan.
But
I would
even
factor that in.
Even if you don't, they are the most successful tag team in history.
It's still New Day, but I think as we go further into the next round and the next matchups, I think the Kofi thing should still be a factor in people's decisions moving forward as well, along with everything else they've achieved.
Yep, including the all-time classic rivalry with the Usos in 2017.
And their never-ending rivalry with Cesaro and Friend.
Oh, Cesaro, what a guy.
Right.
Well, next on the list is Cesaro versus Dolph Ziggler.
Right, so this is matchup number 5. I think we know we're going to go with this. We have Minoru Suzuki versus the Revival / FTR.
Oh shit.
Somebody about to be mad at me. Somebody about to be mad at me.
Are you taking FTR?
No, I think I'm gonna take Suzuki. Yes, I know you said we can do whatever our own criteria is. From a kayfabe standpoint, FTR has won a championship in every brand they've been on. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and now AEW.
Yep.
That is legendary. Yes. Suzuki has yet to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but he's won every other title they could win. And not only that, but I think he won the Triple Crown and the GH, whatever, all the other championships in Japan. I don't know them all. However, from a purely biased standpoint, FTR to me is highly overrated. Ooh. They are as good as it gets in the ring, but that is the least most important part you need to be a successful sports entertainer. So you can be as fantastic. Brent Albright was as good as you could get in the ring. You have no idea who the fuck I'm talking about.
Correct.
Like, it takes so much more than to be fantastic in the ring. So, with that being said, Suzuki is a legitimate MMA fighter. Suzuki is a fantastic wrestler. And Suzuki also is one of the most intimidating human beings, wrestlers, characters out there. Suzuki's character work is so strong that his music is one of the most legendary songs in wrestling history. People sing along with his music. English people sing along to his music in Japanese. Like, so much about Suzuki, the character and the person, is like just his lore and legendary. No diss to FTR, but Suzuki was the wrong person for them to go against. I got to go with the Murder Grandpa.
Ricky, do you know?
I agree because he has main evented Wrestle Kingdom 2011 or 12. Was it against Tanahashi? I can't remember which year. One of the two. Is came close as well. I think in 13. Just missing out on the G1 finals. Picked up wins against Okada along the way as well. I think he's also. I'm trying to think. He's not entirely sure when he won it, but he's been never openweight champion as well as IWGP Intercontinental champion. But I'm not sure if that was in this decade or not. But I think the thing with FTR, like what Rance says, Revival was yes NXT, Raw. Did they win Raw and SmackDown? I think they did, didn't they? And did they win Raw and SmackDown?
They won every single one. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW.
AEW. However, I will argue that between after debuting on Raw, which was amazing, they tapered off. So if you want to factor in booking and whatever you want, like it wasn't, even though they win all these titles, you still were like Revival, like that's the Revival we saw in NXT. And I love the Revival. I still think they're one of the best tag teams in the world. I think there's a difference between talent and in-ring ability than booking, but there was still like a lull before they went to AEW. So yeah, I have no issue putting Revival here.
Well, my vote doesn't count. Well, it doesn't matter. But if we're basing it on
your vote matters.
Well, you know what I mean. In the last 3 years, 3 and a bit years, the Revival peaked at the end of 2017, and since then it has been, as Ricky has sort of implied, a steady decline. Might be too harsh a word, but they never reached those dizzy heights of the tail end of their NXT run. Minoru Suzuki has maintained, if not improved upon, a steady level of excellence, and it has not wavered or waned. So, based on that sort of curvature of form, importance, credibility, I would go for Suzuki as well. So that's a lot of unanimous votes tonight already, but a lot of
give it time.
Internet favourites have hit the floor already. Brutal stuff.
Next up, we have this is matchup number 6. 7, sorry.
This is 6, isn't it?
6, sorry, yeah, 6. We have Nene Takahashi taking on, I love this guy, Zack Sabre Jr.
Hiromu Takahashi?
Nene.
Oh, is this the Joshi?
Yep.
Oh, well, unfortunately for her, I don't know who she is.
Damn, I should have went to James.
Versus Sabre?
Yep.
No diss to her. No diss to her, because if she's a Joshi and James is the one who said that, who recommended her, I know she's fire. But I gotta go GSJ just for the fact that I know who he is and what he can do. And if we're just being honest, ZSJ is one of the most accomplished indie wrestlers in the world in the past 10 years. And he's taken that to New Japan and has become one of the more popular and one of the more successful New Japan people in the world. So I gotta go with Zack Sabre Jr.
Likewise. Sorry, Nene, but I've got Nene clue who you are.
Now watch me whip. Watch me Nene Takahashi. Whip. Watch me Nene Takahashi.
Right. What was that, 6?
7.
Yes.
6.
Trish is 7. Oh, God.
This is 7. I'm writing it down as we go. This is number 7.
We've got Tessa Blanchard.
She lost.
Yes.
Whoever, I don't care whoever it could be Cody Rhodes. Whoever is going against Tessa is winning.
Versus Christopher Hero.
Oh, shit.
Now, Chris Hero's best days are well behind him.
Look, if we are going purely like putting what we feel about the individual to one side, like she's been in Lucha Underground. I don't even know if you can count her NXT stuff. Like she was in a handful of matches. She was in the Mae Young Classic. She was in Stardom for a short period. Women of Wrestling and Impact, and we all know she's done an Impact Knockout Champion and became the first ever Women's Impact World Champion. I think for a short period she was in Lucha Libre as well. We're going to have to go Tessa Blanchard.
Oh.
In a perfect world, Tessa Blanchard has to be the pick. In a perfect world. However, she's a piece of shit. And because I have the right to be biased, I'm choosing to throw all my stanky ass bias on her. Shout out to Chris Hero. We're going with the wrestling genius.
If there was a gun to my head and I was asked, who would you rather listen to audio of doing a shit? I would not want to listen to Chris Hero taking a shit.
Oh, I forgot about that stuff.
Because that would be some grisly audio. Oh. I'm just thinking of the trajectory. The last few years it's been going up for Tessa and down for Hero. Right, I'm going to get some hate. I'm going for Tessa Blanchard.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Alright.
Right, so. God, it's on these matchups.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
It's my stomach now.
Next up, we have Shingo Takagi taking on another piece of shit, Will Ospreay.
Ooh, but imagine that match though.
See, I don't know much about Shingo Takagi, but
he's the man. That's all you need to know. He's the fucking man.
And I know I picked Tessa based on, despite of her being a shit person, so I don't want to not pick Ospreay because he's a shit person, but I don't like the way he wrestles matches.
So you're going Takagi?
I'm going for something I've never wrestled.
Which on his name? Right, I'm going Ospreay. And Rance, I feel like they had a match at the Super Juniors last year. Maybe even a final. I feel like they did.
I don't know which match, but they did. They have wrestled before, yes.
Yeah, I'm going Ospreay. I'm not like. I think he's great. I'm also not the biggest fan of him or in that general style. But I feel like there was a period, a big stretch, I think, of last year where he was legitimately in the conversation of being the best wrestler in the world. I think a lot of his matches are either very, very good or just solid. There's not much below that. I'm going to go Ospreay because, like I said, I feel like what I've witnessed in the last sort of 3 years is someone who's getting better and better and someone who's putting on some stellar matches, even though that says he is a piece of shit. And I know Tagagi was, again, I don't pay much attention to PWI lists, but I think he was high in like 2015, 14-ish. I know he's been tag champions in New Japan as well as a couple of other promotions over in Japan. But like I said, I feel like Ospreay's work these last 3 years, especially some of the stuff he's done in the G1 and in the Super Juniors, really, really impressed with his stuff. And I'm going to go Ospreay despite the fact that I don't like him.
Shingo was the big boss, the big bad guy in Dragon Gate, but I can't list off his accomplishments. We all know what Will Ospreay has done and will continue to do. I enjoy Shingo more, but in a format like this, I got to go with Ospreay. Sorry, Brian.
It's all right. My vote doesn't matter, so it's fine.
Your vote mattered last time. You voted for fucking Tessa.
Right. Next matchup. God, look at this match.
We're even now, sir. We're even now.
So here we go. Another New Japan versus New Japan type matchup here. We have Sanada taking on Shibata. Rance, you want to lead us off?
Sorry, I got a mouthful of food.
Take your time.
Shibata. Not even close.
I was thinking that myself. Not too well versed on either of them, but Shibata's more of a legend in the grand scheme of things, more of a big name, so I'm going for Shibata as well.
Yeah, like I've liked some of the stuff Sanada's done recently. I think he had I can't remember which event or which show it was at with Okada last year. That was a really, really good match.
G1 final, not final, but he was like, he made it really far in the G1. Yeah. Sonata's that guy that continuously go like, man, he's next. And like next year,
never is.
You know what? He's next. And the next year, you know what? He's next. And the next year, you know what? He's next. And it's been like 10 years now. And he ain't never been next.
Yeah, I'm going to go Shibata, but just kind of like, if he never got that never done that damn headbutt, we would still get to watch him wrestle. And I felt like when, it feels like a lifetime ago now, where he came down and had, what's his name? Kenta. Yep. And I felt like, is he going to wrestle again? So I felt like that was going to lead to something, which would have been kind of cool, but at the same time, you're like, no, it's probably not a good idea that you ever take a bump.
Just the way to put over Goto. That's all it was.
So, yeah, I'm going to go Shibata as well. Next up, it's going to be an interesting, I think, debate. We have Finn Balor / The Prince taking on Becky Lynch.
Oh, oh! Oh, no. Now, Clive, you got to go first, bro. You got to go first.
It's Finn. But I think, sorry to cut you off, I think the argument here, I think it's two things, right? You either take the absolute peak of Becky, just think back to her broken nose, mouthing off at Ronda moment. The absolute peak that she put women's wrestling on, like, she was the biggest wrestler in North America at that point, right? And you're like, how the hell can you go against her? Well, we're going against a guy that was the Bullet Club. We are going against a guy who was NXT. We're going against a guy who was the first ever, was it Universal? Was it Red One? Universal, wasn't it? When it beat Seth Rollins. I know it was only for like half a day. We're going against the current NXT guy. So
Okay. I see what you're doing here. You're trying to bet the pot. I see what you're doing here.
I get if somebody wants to argue for Becky because her peak was so damn high. But Finn has done some great things this decade.
I'm not saying he hasn't, but I think you're underselling Becky.
No,
People are. I think what I mean is, yes, you can talk about her peak, and yes, that is what her peak is, as high as any wrestler has gotten since John Cena. And that's including Roman being a Roman fan. Just is what it is. It's facts. However, she was already like a 2 or 3 time world champion before that.
But I think there's been a world champion and being a world champion.
Then you can say the same about Finn.
Man, that guy carried NXT. He made NXT.
The first time, so you put Finn's first NXT title reign against Becky's year-long world title reign. Put them neck and neck. Cool. Yep. Becky still got 3 other title reigns.
But
Finn Balor was the man. Finn Balor was the man in the Bullet Club. However, he was not the whole Bullet Club. In fact, be real with you, Carl Anderson was the Bullet Club number 1.
Yep.
And number 2, he never won a title over the Juniors title. He didn't win the IC title. He didn't win the world title.
He was a foundation in a faction. That now you can put this down to the booking or just
in the history of wrestling. What's going to be more important to the history of wrestling, the Bullet Club or the 4 Horsewomen?
Oh, Rance is angry.
And I'm bothered because I am a huge Finn fan and I want to stick up for Finn, but I feel like Becky has been undersold and I don't like you making me defend her. I don't like it.
I'm not underselling her. I think if you compare her few title runs, that's fine. I think you can compare, maybe not. I don't think there is anything that Finn done that quite reaches a peak of what Becky achieved, and that includes Finn's time in NXT, because at the end of the day, like you say, NXT is what it is because of Finn. But he's been consistently awesome. Bar maybe a couple of years, the last couple of years where he kind of he was just kind of meandering through the roster and not really anything happened to him. Like, his injury, that shoulder injury, like, basically derailed all momentum and he was never giving it back.
So let me put it like this. I'm gonna give it to, I know, Clive, you're gonna jump in, I'm sorry. Finn has done a lot of things that are important to wrestling fans. Becky has done a lot of things that is important to the history of the business.
Becky?
I'm going to go Finn.
I'm changing my mind.
Are you going Becky?
I think, first of all, if we're going to have Becky not on and Tessa on, then that's just throw it out.
Facts.
Right. But
Facts.
Simply put, Becky has done more for women's wrestling than Finn Balor has done for both NXT and the Bullet Club. Because it wasn't just, yes, Finn Balor was Mr. NXT, but Bayley was Miss NXT, and she was there at the same time. She helped bolster it. It wasn't just him. And I think
Becky, Sami Zayn, Neville. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm sorry.
So, Finn Balor's gone, I'm afraid.
Becky Lynch. Look, again, I know we all have our annoyances with her as a character.
Oh God, yes.
But 30 years down the line, if you're reading the book about wrestling, you can tell the story of wrestling without Finn Balor. Know this. But you can tell the story of wrestling without Finn Balor. You cannot tell the story of professional wrestling without Becky Lynch.
I have to concede then, I lost.
Yep. Sorry, pal.
Alright, okay. Let's move forward. We have what matchup is this now? Is this number 9?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
We have Dragon Lee. I can't remember. Did we do this on the... Who picked Dragon Lee?
Josh.
Yeah, Dragon.
Josh
Yeah,
and
from
Jeremy?
New Japan.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Was it right? Sorry. I wasn't sure if it was from Indies. Versus Kevin Owens.
Oh, come on. Ricky.
Yes.
Are we unanimous?
Yep.
Okay. Note this, because Dragon / Ryu Lee is fantastic. But Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Kevin Owens' first words as NXT commentator last week were, Vic Joseph, nice makeup.
But, I mean, Dragon Lee, was he not in this, like, was he not making this, did he not make a top 50, like, stupid make-believe PWI list this year?
He has great matches, but that's all
He's
he does.
also junior heavyweight champ. I mean, I'm going to go KO because even before the NXT stuff, like, remember Kevin Steen?
Mm-hmm. It's Kevin.
PWG, Ring of Honor, like everywhere, yes.
Number 12.
Okay, doke. There we go. We have Chris Daniels. I think we don't even need to discuss this versus Nakamura.
Right, okay, moving.
Are we all just going Naka?
Uh-huh.
But really don't, Ranch.
You're muted, Rance.
Food. Sorry. Yes. Completely unanimous, but shout out to Daniels for making the list because he deserves to be on the list. He's done a lot for the business, but it's Nakamura.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I don't think we need to.
Not much to dispute there.
No.
I just want y'all to know this burger's hidden right now. I just need y'all to know that.
It's hitting?
That means it's good.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, here we go. We have Taiji Ishimori versus Pentagon.
Oh, now I'm going to be biased and just go for Pentagon here. Now, I'm not aware of his AAA accolades. Hit and miss in AEW, but by God, he was a big deal in Lucha Underground. So, I'm going for Pentagon.
It's Pentagon, and I don't know a lot of Ishimori's accolades besides the fact that Ishimori was a former junior heavyweight champ, and I think he's a junior tag champ.
I think he's
Pentagon,
also the current junior heavyweight champ as well. I think.
I don't think he's current right now, is he?
Is he not current?
I could be wrong. But Pentagon is a world champion in like 3 promotions. TNA world champ, AAA world champ, Lucha Underground world champ if you count that. Like, Pentagon is first ballot Hall of Famer already. And like, he's the only guy I can think of off the top of my head. Well, no, I'm sure there's more, but like, who is a multiple promotion world champ and is consistently booked as a mid-card act. It is the wildest thing to me.
Yeah, I'll go Pentagon as well. I think even if you're not familiar with him, I think you saw him in a few singles matches in AEW, and that alone shows you just like, you know, that he could be a great singles guy as well. Right, so that was. So what number are we on now? Sorry.
13.
14.
14.
Right. Just get my second spreadsheets open up.
You take your time. Shout out to Microsoft Office.
And we do, at this point of the show, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Microsoft Office. Have you ever wanted to get it? No, go ahead, continue.
We have Ishimori versus Taguchi.
Who versus Taguchi?
Oh wait, I already said him, didn't I? Sorry, I got mixed up there.
You said Ishimori versus Pentagon.
Yes, sorry. So, oh no, I put this in twice. Oh no, I haven't. We have, so it is Taguchi versus Tomohiro Ishii. There we go, got it right now. Let me edit that. Rance, you want to kick us off?
Ishii. But look, so I've had this fight with Josh and Jeremy quite often because, oh no, that's Tai Chi. No, Taguchi. Taguchi is very underrated because he's won a lot of tag titles, junior tag titles. He's won a lot of junior heavyweight titles, this, that, and the other. I think he was a tag partner with Finn and Apollo 55, and he's done a lot of things. But Ishii may be one of the most on the list of most underrated wrestlers ever. Yeah, shout out to Ishii.
And loyalty to one of the podcasts on the network, and Rich, I will agree with Rance. I'm not sure if it would go down too well if we didn't put him through.
Based on sheer name recognition alone, knowing that the IWC is very fond of Mr. Ishii, I'm going to go for him as well.
Find that man a neck. Find that man a neck.
I said find that man a nut, and I'm like, what?
No.
Again, food. My bad.
Yep. Right, so here we go. This could be interesting. We have the Pirate of Sex.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report limitations apply.
Who are you texting? My therapist. You text with your therapist? Text, video chat, call. Yep. That sounds too easy. How did you find her? I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable. I wonder if I should try it. It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save. BetterHelp.com/save. Got it.
Kyrie saying, taking on Jushin Thunder Liger.
Ooh. Clever.
This is from the last decade. That's what it could be. Like, we need to probably stress that.
Okay.
Again. Clive, what your Rance is eating?
I mean, for me, Kyrie Sane peaked at not even the last Shayna Baszler match that she had. I don't think she ever had a match as good as the what was the women's pay-per-view called again? Evolution. I don't think she had a great match since then. And I know you're talking about a decade. And I know that Liger is into twilight years. But you can't not have Liger through.
I agree. And then we again, this is one of those Finn Becky situations in that Kyrie has done a lot of things that are loved by fans, but in terms of accomplishments, he doesn't have a lot. It's one of my young classic. That's huge. She won NXT title, and she won women's tag championships. I'm not poo-pooing those at all. But Liger is fucking Liger. You know, he's the most famous cruiserweight ever not named Rey Mysterio. Maybe even more famous than Rey Mysterio if you factor the other side of the world.
Yep.
So, I'm going to go with Liger out of respect. No diss to Kyrie.
Right, so Liger's through.
Okie doke.
Number 16.
Right. This is it. I wanted to keep this one for the end, but I feel like I can't. So we just run it in order.
Okay.
Maybe this isn't as big as a matchup as I think it is. I think it's fucking huge. The Young Bucks. Would you like to take a guess who they were randomly generated against?
Usos?
No.
Kenny Omega.
No.
I can't
John
even...
Cena. This is the one I text you saying that is rip.
Alright, so let me, just for a second, please, if you will. Off the top, this seems ridiculous. However,
it's not.
This is a very legitimate battle for the fact that John Cena has been the biggest draw in WWE outside of Becky and Roman for a couple of years because he's been gone. He's not only is a perennial main eventer, but he's a legit movie star. Multiple championships, multiple pay-per-views, this, that, and the other. Multiple WrestleManias. But the Young Bucks may be the most successful non-WWE act ever. And I say that because Sting finally went. Right? They may be the most successful act to never take WWE. They are one of the highest merchandise sellers in the world because they got to deal with legit companies. And they are, not Cody, I'm sorry, not Kenny. The Bucks are the reason the Bullet Club got hot in America and the reason AEW really became a thing. That's more them than Cody to me because Cody jumped in a ready-made vehicle.
Yep.
Right? So, I think of all these things, and I'm still going to say John Cena. Fuck the Bucks.
Wow. Right.
But it's a legit competition. It was a legit conversation. But it's John Cena.
So we're talking 2010. Now, if we even went back to, even if we went 2008, Cena whitewashes them. Bucks are, as Rance says, the most successful act out with WWE. The number one merch sellers, and could well be in professional wrestling. I don't know those kind of fucking stats, nor do I care. But it carries weight. Hugely successful in Japan.
Yep.
Part of the Bullet Club, being the elite. Let's be honest about it. As Rance put it, they were, even though Tony Khan's money and Cody might be the face or whatever, Bucks were the real driving force behind the creation of AEW and everything that they've done. Have been one of the best tag teams in the world for a long time. It isn't. It is so close. What we need to remember in the 2010s, Cena had that US Open Challenge run.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
A lot. I think Cena's absolute. What was that?
You love that run so much. Okay.
It is tremendous.
You bring it up.
I can't wait to hear what noted John Cena hater Clive has to say. I'm so excited.
I know where he's going to go, and it's my vote. I think my vote is going to mean nothing. Like, oh my god, this is so difficult. And the reason I say it's so difficult is because I think Cena's work in the 2010s finally put him, in my opinion, above certain people on the Mount Rushmore. May well have taken him to number one on the Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
I think that was the final, like, stamp that was like, yeah, I've been this big merch seller and I've done all these 5 moves, I'm doing blah, 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 but I then started putting on, like, absolute great matches. And I talk about his US title run. He had 2 back-to-back bangers with Cesaro on Raw. He had the KO trilogy. He had with Sami Zayn. By the way, Sami Zayn wrestled that entire match with a separated shoulder. He was involved in a triple threat with Seth and Brock.
He had a match with Neville that was fire.
This is so. Oh. I
So you
genuinely
know who
don't
you're
know.
picking? Clive, you know who you're picking?
Clive, you may as well take your pick. I don't know who to pick.
Well, I'm in a quandary because I have no love at all for either of them.
That's what makes it so good.
Yep.
I have an active dislike towards John Cena. I have an active dislike towards the Young Bucks. I think the Young Bucks have played quite a pivotal role in this us versus them that we've seen on social media in the last few years, and I don't think that's healthy at all. But I just can't stand John Cena.
Uh-oh. So what does that mean? What are you saying, sir?
John Cena's going through.
See, right? I mean, come on, man. We can talk all this talk all we want. We can make all these arguments all we want. But at the end of the day, it's a tag team versus one of the greatest draws in wrestling history. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Like, I would pick Cena over the Road Warriors if the Road Warriors' best decade, because ultimately it's a tag team against a singles guy.
And let's not forget, like, not just the Super Run in 2015, the matches with AJ Styles,
Yep.
the program with CM Punk, the program with Brock Lesnar, twice.
I mean, there was a lot of lows though.
There's a lot of lows in the Young Bucks. Well,
I would agree. Completely would agree with that. The Young Bucks for most of the decade were known as guys that was known as pop monkeys. It wasn't. I've watched the Young Bucks from PWG on. The first time I ever saw them wrestle, I've seen them wrestle 3 matches in my lifetime that I can say, damn, they really are wrestling a good match. And that was the match with Candice and that guy who we won't talk about. That was
quite
the match.
We won't talk about.
Well, the one guy that's teamed with Candice that likes to put people's hands on his dick.
Yes.
The match with them and I guess 4 because the FTR match was cool. The match with them versus Kenny and Cody, Golden Lovers, and then the match against Kenny and Adam Page. Like, they wrestle storyline match when they want to, but that you're talking about, like, that's 4 out of like hundreds. How many meaningless junior tag title reigns did they have in New Japan? Nobody cared. How many spot fests did they have in Ring of Honor? They were fun matches to watch, but they didn't mean nothing. Everything John Cena did meant something, even if it was bad.
Listen, I'll accept. I'm outvoted. Let's move on, shall we? This next matchup. This is hilarious.
Brock Lesnar
versus Gail Kim.
What is it?
Brock Lesnar versus Gail Kim. It's not even like Gail was amazing for Impact. Like, she really was. She was great, but
man,
let's not debate it here.
I feel a certain way about Gail Kim personally. I'll give her flowers because she was fantastic in the ring, but I don't fuck with Gail Kim. But yeah, Brock Lesnar would snap her like a twig, and I say that Brock Lesnar would snap like 400-pound men like a twig. So that's no diss to her.
I mean, you know my feelings on Brock Lesnar, but he's a monster.
Oh, yeah, like I said, there's no point in debate. I don't think we need to debate many.
But what about Gail Kim's 6 different? No, it's Brock Lesnar.
I feel bad about this next matchup. Because I can't believe we've done all this. Daniel Bryan versus the Usos.
Oh my god.
Like, I feel for the next two, we don't really need to have much of a discussion. Like, I don't think this needs to be talked about very much, do you think?
Is the next match have a tag team in it too?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But I think there's a definitive one out in the next one. Especially from your point of view, Rance.
So it's somebody versus Cody.
No. It's the other way. You love this man. So I think it would all go on Daniel Bryan.
I mean, the Yes Movement returning from life-threatening injury and the Captain Planet run, nothing else needs to be said.
Nothing else needs to be said other than the Yes Movement.
But I preferred the Captain Planet run.
Captain Planet was better than the Yes Movement. Yes, no, exactly.
I'll say about the Yes Movement, the only reason I say that is because I will harken back to that conversation I had with Clive, where I say, go watch it again. There's a guy in there, Daniel Bryan, who's getting pops in receptions, and it's over. Like, I've not seen this like the Austin days. Like, it's ridiculous. Right, so next up, we got Paige versus your boy, Naito.
Oh, Destino has, bro. Come on now.
Clive, are you making a note of everyone that we've picked?
I am.
I think someone is.
Yeah, you said you were doing it, so I haven't been.
I know, but like, I stopped after a couple of shoots, but I remember them all. Anyway.
Thank you to the guest who's.
This one.
Well, I'm not a guest, sir. I'm the friend in Ricky and Clive and Friends.
I've not made my pick.
I mean,
wait, hold on, time out. You're really thinking about Paige versus Naito or Bryan versus Usos?
I was thinking of Paige versus capitalism.
Right.
Next, it's Naito.
Yep. Let me scroll back down. This is interesting. Like, I know where it's going, but it's a good matchup. Our boy Jay White versus AJ Styles.
Oh my God, that is a WrestleMania main event or a Wrestle Kingdom main event. That's fantastic.
I'd love to see that.
That's a beautiful match, and fair play to Jay White, because if we were doing this in 10 years' time for the 2020s best of, then Jay White's going to be up there. But come on now.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
Alan.
No, like, back end of his Impact stuff, New Japan stuff, debut in WWE, and Jay White's fucking great. Jay White really is, but yeah, man.
Jay will be untouchable in 10 years. In 10 years, Jay will win this running away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right now, it's AJ.
Okay, doke. Next up, we have Clive. I believe you picked Rush, didn't you?
I picked Rush.
Oh, okay. Versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Rush versus Daddy?
Yes.
Brian, I'd like this one. I know you don't know much about Rush, but I know we are Ciampa followers. We pray at the altar of Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Ciampa so much.
Rance, what are you doing?
I'm not saying I'm picking Rush. I'm just saying, again, multiple promotions, world champion. I'm just saying, Ciampa was an afterthought in Ring of Honor and an afterthought for a good portion of NXT. We're really only talking 3 years he's been relevant in NXT. I guess 4.
Sorry, you go 5?
From a personal standpoint, that 2018 run is peerless. Absolutely peerless.
Do you know any other wrestler in recent time that's come out to no music because he's that hated?
God.
Just so we can hear the booze?
That was disgusting.
I remember when that happened.
That was ridiculous.
And then when he got music, the first thing that Clive texted me was, "I'm so pissed he has music now," because he just wanted him to come out to the ring to booze for the rest of his career. Yeah. No, look, I love Ciampa.
Ciampa.
I'm just saying it's much closer than we think. And it's because you guys don't know the history of Rouge. You want to give credit to Finn Balor for creating Bullet Club or being the main person of Bullet Club? Rouge was one of the founders of Los Ingobernables.
Okay.
But he didn't spit on a man's wedding ring, did he now? No, he did not.
Just because you said that, you swayed me. I'm going with Ciampa because he spit on a man's wedding ring and threw that shit in the crowd.
Oh, that was a bit harsh. He threw that shit into the crowd. Is that your stance on marriage in general, or just Johnny Gargano's marriage?
Hey man, I can neither confirm nor deny.
So both.
Pretty much.
Next matchup, we have Austin Aries versus Mayu Iwatani. Mayu Iwatani.
Oh.
Mayu, yeah.
Yep. I liked Aries. I liked Aries in 205, and I quite liked him in Impact and stuff, but next up,
Really?
this one real. Well, we've got two, unless you want to chime in with Austin Aries 205 over there.
Rance wasn't confirming that his
I thought
pick,
you did, sorry.
confirming the pronunciation.
Sorry, I thought you did.
Who did y'all pick?
Well, he picked Mayu.
You picked Mayu?
Yep.
Who'd you pick, Clive?
No one yet.
So look, I abhor Austin Aries.
But
For those of you listening at home, abhor is a level past hatred. However, 10 years, Austin Aries, in the past 10 years, Austin Aries has won a Ring of Honor World Championship. Austin Aries has won 2 Impact World Championships. Austin Aries created the Rule X, where you win in Destination X, you can turn in the X Division Championship and win the World Championship. Austin Aries has been a major, I'm not gonna call him a major factor in NXT, but he was interesting. He was, you know, I mean, he wrestled in every, until Nakamura knocked his fucking eye socket out. He wrestled on every takeover he was in when he was there, so I guess it's something.
And I'm not meaning to be biased here, but he was more interesting in 205 than he was in NXT.
No, that's no question. You're absolutely right. No question at all. And he was good. He was good in 205. He just ran into Neville, who was a buzzsaw.
But they had amazing matches.
But he had amazing matches too. I think the conversation that needs to be had about this is we can list again all of the criteria of what Austin Aries has done, and we can't list the criteria of Mayu. I know that Mayu may be, if not one of the most decorated Joshi wrestlers of the decade. I can tell you that. I know she's won that Stardom World Championship multiple times. I can tell you that. But I can't tell you anything else. So
Aries as well.
Yeah, I got to go with Aries only because it's the devil I know versus the devil I don't, and I hate it. But I can tell you everything Aries has done. I can't tell you what Iwatani has done, and I love Mayu Iwatani. I've seen her work, and I think she's fantastic. But yeah. It sucks, bro. I know.
Vicky, you're on mute, friend.
Are you eating too?
Sorry. I was actually eating a sweet. I was saying she's one of the wrestlers that debuted at Wrestle Kingdom earlier on this year, but it's fine too.
You couldn't see that shit? They was there to see that shit? That shit was like closed off.
Next one we don't need to discuss. Nick Aldis versus Okada.
Oh, Jesus.
Who? Who versus Okada?
Nick Aldis.
Ricky, fuck off. Right.
You know Carl would troll just to be Carl and would pick Aldis because he likes Nick Aldis, but it's Okada. No.
I don't think he would, because I think he would love to have Okada versus Roman in the final.
He would, but he's also a troll by heart, and I said that with love.
Yep. Right, next matchup. This is interesting. Asuka versus Sasha Banks.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit. Oh.
You gonna hate my answer. Y'all gonna hate my fucking answer.
You want to say Sasha?
No.
I'm going to say Asuka.
How can you pick against Asuka? No diss to Sasha. Sasha's a much bigger star. Not even close. Asuka was undefeated for like 500 and some odd days. Asuka was so undefeated they had to take the title away from her. You know what I'm saying? Asuka's won multiple world championships on the main roster on both brands. Asuka's defended multiple times on the main roster on both brands. Tag team championships. Yeah, man. It's Asuka.
And also, you know, like, she took a hell of a beating from Suzuki.
Well, that's another point. Yes.
That alone, she's in.
That's another point. If you talk about before WWE, Sasha was unknown.
Yep.
Asuka was a star in Stardom. So that's a good point.
Yep, Asuka. Oh,
sorry, Sasha.
Now, if it was WWE alone, that would have been a real interesting debate.
What are you saying, Clive?
This is cutthroat stuff.
Good. Right. Oh, this is interesting. Johnny Gargano. CM Punk.
Oh, no.
No, wait. Punk left the business in what, 2012 or 2014?
No, I mean, it's two people that I've, like...
Oh, you really don't like Johnny Gargano? I know you don't like him in the ring, but...
You don't like Gargano?
I think he's a wee fanny.
Right. Jesus Christ. No, Punk left in 13?
So we're talking 3 years of the highest of the highest of the high, or 10 years of doing everything at a very good level.
Yeah, so it was 13 because basically, like, I think his last appearance was like the Rumble of 14 roundabout then.
2 years. Yeah, the Rumble. Yeah, so 3 years. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going Punk.
Okay, right. Now, I'm going again. Like, I don't mind Gargano, and it sounds odd that I'm saying this because he's in my favourite ever NXT match, but that's because he got his arse handed to him. Like,
he was absolved of his sins.
Oh, fucking hell. But I don't really care much for him, and I don't like Punk, so I'm going to go with the same reasoning that I did for the Bucks and Cena. Punk's podcast with Cabana, that's when it started setting in motion the Roman Reigns hate, and that was another thing that created an us versus them mentality on social media, which is not good for mental health. So, fuck you, Punk. See you later.
No.
I've muted that so you wouldn't hear the claps, but I am giving a standing ovation to Clive.
And the Cena versus CM Punk match is so overrated.
Just take him off the pod.
Wait, hold on. You said a little too much. You should have stopped. You was good. And the best part about it, Rick, is you saw he dropped the mic and sat back in his chair like, what now?
He did. So, are you going Gargano?
I'm going Gargano. Here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning. We're not talking about if Punk wrestled all 10 years and just had a great 3-year run at the peak. Punk only wrestled 3 years of the decade. Gargano for 10 years has been the face. He's been the face of of NXT. He's been the face of PWG. He's been the face of Evolve. He's won every title there is to win that was outside of the WWE or Ring of Honor TNA, because he didn't go to those companies because he was too busy making more money on the indies. Plus, he's married to Candice LeRae.
But his peak was so high. Summer of Punk. Stuff with Brock. Stuff with Taker. Stuff with Cena. Stuff with Daniel Bryan.
Stuff with Ciampa. Stuff with Black. Stuff with Priest. Stuff with who?
With Cole. Stuff with DIY.
Punk opened the door, and you know that.
Punk, I'm telling you, Punk played a massive part in this toxic digital world we live in.
And
more.
Yes, and y'all be giving Punk too much credit. Because Daniel Bryan was signed before Punk ever was.
Oh no, we know that. We know Daniel. Because, I mean, he had like a great match with Punk, but let's just move on.
What I'm saying is, so many people like to say, man, Punk opened so many doors to people. Bryan was doing it before Punk was there.
Next matchup.
See you later, Punk.
Miko. First was signed to, which was, our once favourite brand.
Mm-hmm.
And a tribal chief himself.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
It's not fair.
That is not fair.
Can I make my case before anyone?
For who?
I mean, the way you sounded like this was going to be a toss-up.
Miko Satomura versus the tribal chief?
Yes, just the way... Right, okay, it was just the way you were... I thought you were going to really debate it there.
No, the tribal chief is months old.
So we're going with Roman.
I was about to say, you really want to actually have a discussion about this?
I thought you were about to.
Look, man, don't let me stop you from living your life, bro. If you need to talk this out.
No,
no, I don't.
The tribal chief is months old out of 10 years. Okay, yes, as a big star, but...
Finish that thought. Go ahead. I'm listening. Hold on. Finish that thought. I'm listening. Go ahead. You talked to Roman Reigns superfan, by the way.
I know. I have not enjoyed what I have consumed with Roman Reigns all the time since he went to single star.
Fair enough. Question for you.
Who's your pick?
Hold on. Please, 1 second, Rick. Question for you, Clive. Name me 3 Miko Satomura matches you've seen.
I pick Roman Reigns.
Thank you very much.
Right. We're going Roman.
And let me give you folks a history lesson. The Shield debuted in 2014.
Mm-hmm. 2012?
No, 2012. You're right. I'm sorry. So if we're talking a decade, he was already in one of the greatest factions ever. The third year in the decade. So, come on.
And let's not forget the absolute classic, and I'm not even joking. Last man standing match against Big Show. TLC match against Shamu.
By the way, we have a great matchup coming shortly. Right, so next up, we have Hiromu Takahashi versus Nakajima.
I'm claiming ignorance here, but I'm going for Taka.
Taka?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Taka?
Takahashi.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say like Michinoku. Yeah, Hiromu. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Hiromu as well.
Time bomb. Yeah, time bomb.
Yep. Right, next one. I don't think we need to say too much. Jay Lethal versus Charlotte.
Is this the first one where a woman's gonna be the man?
No. Becky Lynch beat Finn Balor.
You're right. My bad. You're right.
Next, this is a match. This is interesting.
So, but I'll watch that one. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll go Charlotte. Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho.
That's a damn good matchup.
That's not even anywhere near up for a debate.
Okay.
That is Chris Jericho every day of the week.
You're right. It's not a conversation. I just think the names alone is a good matchup. But you're right.
Yeah,
Cody hasn't done anything that can be considered in Jericho's league. And if you give Cody his whole career and you give Jericho just the 2 years in AEW, Cody still ain't done nothing bigger than Jericho.
The only thing I would say about Cody would be that obviously remember he had that list when he left WWE. There's a few people on there. Obviously
Who
done
started
some
the
stuff in
list?
Japan. What was that?
Wasn't Jericho already doing that list before Cody did that?
Yeah, I know, but I think it was just like I think he created like a list of wrestlers he wanted to wrestle, kind of thing. I'm going Jericho, obviously. I'm just saying, like, I think there's some factors there. Cody obviously contributing to AEW kind of thing, building that company up, creating it. So, but I think Ryan's probably said it right. I think the names make it sound like it's a closer matchup than it actually is once you kind of start digging into it. Because, I mean, Jericho, like I says, even the stuff he's done out with WWE, even we've not been like big fans of certain things, but yeah, it's still Jericho.
And let me say this real quick, just for the record. Cody did do one of the greatest feats ever in wrestling history. No, and I'm not joking. No, there's not being facetious. He wrestled at a WrestleMania, Bound for Glory, a Final Battle, and a Wrestle Kingdom in one calendar year.
Yep.
Like that will never be done again. So, give that man that credit for that. But,
I mean, when you're able to like strong arm certain people into those situations,
yeah,
so.
I think Jericho. I mean, I'm not a fan at all of his recent stuff. It's quite alienating overall, rather than compelling. But he's going to go far in this tournament.
Oh, definitely. Although, like, he'll be coming up against Roman at some point. No, he won't. We could be getting Roman versus Okada quite soon.
Even if he was, you got to remember, going to 2010, Jericho versus HBK in the ladder match.
Yes.
Jericho and Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is some the run with Jericho and the show, the list of Jericho. There's some like bangers in there.
List of Jericho, New Japan.
He will go very far.
Yeah, the first Omega match. There's like some really big Jericho moments in the decade.
So next up, we got Goto versus Nagata.
Oh God, y'all gonna make me.
Who are you guys going for that one?
So I'm gonna go with Hiroki Goto for this one reason. No, this is Yuji Nagata, and I know Nagata used to be an ace there and had great moments in the past, but largely over the last part of this decade, he's been kind of relegated to the New Japan dads part of the card. Every now and then he'll have a big match, but most of the time he's starting off in a multiple time tag match. They'll throw him in a tournament when they need him. Goto, while massively overrated, has been a part of a bunch of major stories, a bunch of major matches. He's had a lot of title wins. The whole Shibata return was an endeavor to big up Goto because Shibata and Goto were best friends from high school.
Yep.
So like I got to go with Goto.
That's fine. We'll go with Goto as.
Is that what your pick was going to be?
Yep.
Hey, that's fine with me then.
Down to the final two. Right, this one I don't think needs much discussion because this final matchup's interesting. We got second last matchup. We got Kenny Omega versus Rocky Romero. So I will
Squash.
put in Kenny.
Squash, yeah.
In fact, Kenny would have that face on as well. After that, the face that when he beats Sonny Kiss.
Final matchup. Are you ready? I wonder if he's able to name it. It's an all-women matchup.
It's Io Shirai versus Bayley, isn't it?
Correct.
Oh,
That's a nice match.
it is. And Bayley has had a monstrous 2020, and she had a monstrous 2015, like huge. They were 2 big years for her.
First ever WWE Women's Triple Crown champion, and meaning she won the world title in Raw, SmackDown, NXT. First ever Women's Grand Slam champion because she won all 3 world championships, and she won the Women's Tag Championships. Like, she's won her debut match at WrestleMania. Like, she won multiple title matches at WrestleMania. Like, Io Shirai's had great moments, and she ran Stardom. I believe it was her sister, and Kyrie were a team or something like that. But she ran Stardom. But, I mean, I don't see how you can pick against Bayley here, personally.
Bayley is ridiculously decorated in a place where the brass ring is small.
She had a lull of about a good 18 months or so of doing absolutely nothing.
Io Shirai didn't do much in NXT for quite some time as well.
But as Rance says, she was the boss at Stardom.
And Io had multiple title matches. Like, remember, she fought Shayna like 3 times.
Remember that cage match, Rance?
Oh, my Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Lord have mercy. Can we just do a top list tournament of best NXT women's cage matches?
Well, I would happily do that while erect. No,
right, so
not for the
here
women,
we go.
just the cage matches.
I will read out the winners, and I will read out the matches we've got next week. So,
Do you want to do that? Because it takes away the surprise. But if you do, that's fine.
no, because we've already got the bracket laid out, so people will know themselves.
Right, okay.
So, here we go. Matchup number 1 is going to be Moxley versus Tanahashi. Oh, fucking hell. Seth Rollins versus The New Day. Suzuki versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, the hold on, the OG versus the what is it? The student versus the teacher?
Yep. Piece of shit versus piece of shit. That's Tessa Blanchard versus Will Ospreay.
Fitting.
God almighty.
Shibata versus Becky Lynch.
Right.
Kevin Owens versus Nakamura.
Oh my God. Right, I'm phoning in sick next week. I'm not partaking in this.
Oh my lord. Look at this matchup coming up soon. We got Pentagon versus Ishimori.
I see the 2 you're talking about.
Oh, Ishii versus Cena. Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness, there's so many good matchups. Naito versus AJ. Ciampa versus Austin Aries. Okada versus Asuka.
That hold on.
Oh.
That would be an actual fire match. All jokes aside, that would be fantastic.
We got this next one, Gargano Roman.
Squash.
Takahashi Charlotte.
Takahashi would give her a match.
Jericho Goto.
Squash.
Omega Bayley.
Look, if Kenny is sold for a blow-up doll, he'll sell like hell for Bayley.
Oh my lord, do you know what's going to happen in the round after that? We got Okada versus Roman.
End the podcast, guys.
and if all goes well, we're hoping it is, we're going to have the Keeping It Strong style boys on for that. You could have those two definitely vouching and voting for Okada versus us two going for Roman, and someone's got to relent.
Can you imagine? Like 2016 Rainmaker versus the Tribal Chief.
Listen, I'm going to give a shout out to Carl. Carl's always says it. Give me Okada versus Roman, whether that's at WrestleMania or Wrestle Kingdom. Like that, he wants that main event. He says that for a good few years now.
That's the biggest match that could ever happen in wrestling. not ever.
But for Smarks, yes.
So, before we finish, because I am literally on my last party here.
Right, okay.
I know what Rance just says right before we do our shoutouts and etc. What is the biggest match that could be made in wrestling this very moment?
Rance Okada.
Where does Mox and Reigns come into that?
Mox?
I know people are going to say, well, we saw this kind of, but I'm talking about current Mox versus current Roman.
No.
Nope.
The only thing that could touch Reigns Okada is Reigns versus The Rock. If Rock wants to come back and do it.
Moxley's only interested in hardcore matches as well.
It'd be fun to see Roman step into that world, but it's not interesting because you've seen them two wrestle each other. And to be fair, they haven't wrestled each other in singles a lot. But I think when I think of dream match, it's got to be something that we haven't seen before, because it can't be a dream if you've seen it.
Have we seen that singles match?
Yeah, remember he won his first title. His first title at Survivor Series was against Moxley.
It was a bit pants of a match as well.
Oh, that's right, where Thingy cashed in.
Yeah.
Sheamus.
Sheamus 515 says, I just kicked your arse.
Match that we never got that I would have loved to have seen. Brock Lesnar and Batista.
That would have been nice. That would
be true.
Throw me Brock in any of the top four in WWE. I'll rock with. I'm not WWE in New Japan. Give me Brock Okada. Give me Brock Naito. Give me Brock Tanahashi. Give me Brock Ibushi, because Ibushi would break his neck 3 times in a row selling for Brock happily.
A young boy would sign off on that. He's a big believer in Brock. Thinks he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. This
wouldn't be the most biggest business match ever in wrestling, but I need to see Pete Dunne versus Jay White once in my life. I need to.
I would love to see Jay White, Roman as well.
And I want to see, just because of the history of the Sables, I want to see Naito versus Andrade. I would enjoy that, because number one, wrestling wise, they match well. But Naito, when he got kind of cast away from New Japan, his excursion was with AAA or CMLL rather, I think, and Los Ingobernables. So.
Right, Ricky, for your battery time,
yep.
We'll wrap things up. Thank you for doing the donkey work, gentlemen, taking the notes and updating the stuff.
Well, I mean, at some point during this podcast, I had to actually start pulling my weight.
Aye. Rance, do you want to tell us where people can find you?
At It's Ray Cash, RAY as in Mysterio, CASH as in dollars. Check out all my shit on Chair Shop Media.
And we are, right, you ready for this? Let's go. We are at Ricky and Clive. No shit, I fucked it already. We are the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcasting Network, where you can find other shows such as One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Great Match Generator, Grave Consequences, All Things Elite, and 8-Bit Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex Podcast. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app of your choice. You can find us at socialsuplex.com, as well as the other columns that we do there. They can get sent direct to your email inbox if you press the button subscribe. Press the donate button in the show notes and you can donate towards us getting nice webcams and some fancy uniforms to wear during the podcast. Speaking of clothing, ProWrestlingTees.net, head over to the Social Suplex page. You can find some Social Suplex tees there. With the Wrestling Squared Circle on the Facebook, that's the Facebook group, and we're at Ricky and Clive on Twitter, and we are out of here.
It was a good show.
Right. Tune in next week for round 2 of what is going to be a tasty, tasty night ahead. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Rance. Thank you, Ricky.
Yep.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
Take care, folks.
Happy Kwanzaa. Night, night.
I am literally just about to cut off, so I will catch up with you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.